Guys, I am excited about today's topic because if you want to start milling flour, I think what we're talking about today is probably the first obstacle that you face. I think for some people it almost trips them up and they might even get a grain mill and then just hold on to it for months and not quite sure what to do with it because they don't know about what we're going to talk about today. So I'm glad you're here. This is part of a week-long series. What did I call it? Something about real food, the real truths of real food. And specifically, we're talking a lot about fresh flour, which today focuses on that. And we're talking about some gardening topics and growing your own food. Those two workshops, yesterday's and tomorrow's, are also not just part of this set of workshops, but they're also part of the Homestead Kickoff. The workshops that are going on for 10 days with some friends of mine and myself. Super excited about it. So please, if you haven't already, go to the link in my bio if you're watching this live and click on, I believe it's the first link that says something about bundle. That'll tell you all about the bundle. 70 friends and myself have got together. It's amazing. It's only for 7 more days that you can get access to this. And it's like a once in a lifetime thing. My Maple Syrup University is part of the bundle. It's a $229 retail value, but the bundle is $50. You get access to $5,000 worth of, I believe it's 70 products, because I know it's 70 friends. It's crazy. It's 99% off. So don't miss that. But on that same page, when you click on that at the link in my bio, if you scroll to the bottom, you can sign up for the free workshops. So if you haven't done that, please do, because I will send you information about when they're happening. And then I will also send you replays in case you missed them, or if you want to watch them again. I'm going to be posting them over on YouTube and sending out that link as well. And I will send you all the things we talk about today, links and any special codes or anything I mention will be in an email that's summing up this workshop. So definitely sign up for that. If you're catching this after it has been live, if it's the replay on Instagram or over on YouTube, just comment the word workshop and I will make sure that my robot sends you all the goodness so you can sign up and get all of the stuff in one place. Okay? Don't forget. Please do that. Meanwhile, say hi. Hello, hello. Let me know. Have you ever... Good morning from Washington. Wow. You are up early. What time is it in Washington? I guess it's not too early. Let me know if you've milled grain before. If you have a grain mill. If you've used fresh flour before. You can certainly purchase fresh milled flour if you don't have a grain mill. So that's always an option too. In our first workshop, we broke down a little bit about the history of flour that is today called enriched, that commercial stuff you buy at the grocery store. We talked about why it's not truly enriched and why it really doesn't matter. It's really dead. So definitely catch that workshop. Lots of good stuff there. I also have many podcast episodes I have done about this myself and also guests that I have had on, some experts in the field. I will send you links to those podcast episodes that go deeper if you comment workshop or if you get that information. Okay, so today we're going a little bit deeper with our talk about wheat berries and fresh flour. Hold on a second, I'm really thirsty. This, by the way, is sap from our maple trees. I don't know if you can see it's gotten a little more yellow, a little more cloudy because this sat in my bucket for 24 hours before I collected it. On Monday, I think I showed you some tree sap, in that workshop. That was much clearer because I had just collected that morning or that afternoon. Okay, because that was an afternoon workshop. In fact, you know what? Tomorrow's workshop, which is part of the Homestead Kickoff, but it'll be here on my channel, I'm going to tell you about how to make saponade with maple sap because it's just a fun little fact that everybody should know. So don't miss that. I might even go out in the sugarbush if I'm able to. Okay, back to wheat berries. I pulled out just a few. I spent, I think, 6 years, almost 6 years, using my grain mill, milling my flour, but not getting the results I wanted. My solution, which was okay, I recommend this to anyone who is struggling with fresh flour. I used usually half and half. I would use half commercial flour and half fresh milled. So I figured, well, I'm getting some of those nutrients, some of the benefit of fresh flour, but I just couldn't get my end results, my product to taste good, to be the right texture if I was just using fresh flour. So I decided last January is when I started creating Fresh Flour University. So I guess it was about 2 years ago. I decided that's it. I can't handle this anymore. I'm either going to figure out this grain mill and the fresh flour so I don't have to buy flour anymore. I don't have to use the dead stuff. Or I might just give my grain mill away because I just can't handle this in between anymore. I just got to that point. So I dove in, like all in. I created so many horrible foods that we just threw away. Some of it I ate because I know it was good for me, even if it didn't taste good. But I kept working at it. I kept researching. I kept struggling. And I finally got to the point that I was able to throw away my last bag of commercial flour. And I've been using only fresh flour for a couple of years now. And I started creating Fresh Flour University right away because I knew this was something I needed to document to be able to help others because it was a huge struggle for me. And I wanted others to be able to overcome it without it taking you 6 or 7 years, right? I mean, it really shouldn't be that hard. So that's my goal with Fresh Flour University. In it, I break down, I think it's at least 20 different wheat berries. It's a ton of all the most common, popular ones you can get a hold of. And we talk about the difference in the wheat berry structure, the difference in the flavor profile, different ways to use it, and tips for each wheat berry. And some of them aren't wheat berries, some of them are alternative grains. I have some here, like we talk about chickpea. And what else do I have here? Buckwheat. Buckwheat's an unusual one. It's almost like a pyramid shape, the shape of it. And sorghum, little tiny sorghum. All of those are alternative grains. There's lots more too in Fresh Flour University. And once I break down all those details, then I make it super easy for you. And I created charts because I love charts that I can stick up on my refrigerator, that I can glance when I'm going to make a certain cookie or a certain brownie or muffin or bread, and I can see what wheat berry has given me the best results for that kind of food. So all of that is in Fresh Flour University. It's an introductory price for only, you know what, it was supposed to be only another day, but I'm going to extend that because I haven't yet even sent an email to anyone telling everybody that the doors are open to Fresh Flour University. So you have about another week to get the introductory price, 70% off, lots of gifts and freebies as well during that introductory period. So definitely come at workshop and I will make sure you find out about that too. I would say go to the link in my bio, but I'm not even sure it's there. It's been a crazy couple weeks trying to get this all together and launched, and I'm not sure if I put that there. All right, back to the topic at hand. On Monday in our workshop, we broke down the 3 parts of the wheat berry. So go check that out. This tiny little wheat berry has 3 parts. 2 of them are removed and used in a lot of other things that the big food pharma companies make so much money from. They take the nutrients away from us, from the wheat berry. They give us 1 part of this, just the endosperm, just the starch, which is pretty much just the gluten, just the protein in that enriched flour on the store shelf. They add back about 20% of what they took out, but there's no cofactors anymore because they took out all the cofactors. This little wheat berry has everything we need to have 40 of our 44 essential nutrients. But if you strip away 2/3 of it, it's not going to give your body any nutrients. It's really quite sad. But then they took those 2/3 part that they took out, which was the bran and the germ, and they use it for all kinds of other things that they make really big money on, like animal food, like seed oils, more stuff that's just hurting us instead of helping us. Anyway, I'm on a soapbox. Sorry, I'm going to get back down off my soapbox. Those 3 parts are all included when you mill your flour. We're going to mill some flour in just a minute. I'm going to take you over to my grain mill and I'll show you a little tip that you will never forget that will make your life so much easier if you want to mill flour. It's so simple and I can't believe it took me so long to figure it out. So stick with me. We are going to go over there and I'm going to show you that. Okay, the main point I want you to take away from today, except for that tip I'm going to show you, is there are essentially two types of wheat berries: hard wheat berries and soft wheat berries. And even your alternative grains, your things that aren't really wheat per se, like the sorghum, like the barley, they fit into one of those categories, hard or soft. Your hard berries are the ones that have a lot of protein, and that protein will develop gluten. So if you want something that's really chewy and that rises really well, which essentially is your bread, then you want your hard wheat berries. So that gives you a good start. At least you know which column to go to if you're making bread. If you're making baked goods, you don't want them to be all super chewy, elasticy, and you don't want your cookies to, rise and puff up like they're a cake. For those, all the baked goods, you want to use your soft wheat berries, because the soft wheat berries have very little protein and they're not going to develop the gluten. So once you know which category to go to, that makes things a lot easier. Then in each category, of course, you have so many choices. But to start off, I always recommend right here, hard white is what I always recommend for your breads when you're starting off. And I don't have my soft white sitting here. It pretty much looks the same. Soft white for all of your baked goods. I say white because the red version, this is my hard red, is going to have more of a weedy profile. Now, once you get used to all the different flavor profiles of these amazing wheats, you start to really love the deep variety of flavor you get depending on which wheat berries you grab. So I personally have gotten to the point that the hard red is my favorite, but I always recommend hard white when you're starting out, because all of us have families that are used to that taste of that commercial flour, and this is going to be a closer fit with that taste. I think Friday, we're talking about blends. Maybe I shouldn't. I have to look at my schedule. I'll tell you more about how to take these wheat berries and make your own flour blend that's really going to get close to what the commercial flours are out there. Some more hard ones. This is called Corazon, but it's known as kamut because some farmers got together and wanted to preserve the authenticity of the kamut wheat berry, and they actually trademarked it. But you have to use that exact specific berry to call it kamut. So the general population, though, knows it as kamut. So this is officially Corazon. It's not the brand name. It's the no-name version. But, it's kind of like calling tissues Kleenex. So I call it kamut. The one thing about kamut that I do explain in Fresh Flour University, you do also want to look at the size of your wheat berry. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe if I take it out here. Let's look at this compared to this hard white one. So there's the kamut. There's the hard white. Can you see the size difference? Because kamut is a larger berry, a grain mill struggles a little more to get it extra fine. So that is one thing. I really love kamut, and I explain all the reasons why in Fresh Flour University, but I don't recommend it usually when you're starting out, just for that reason. The very size of it can make it a little bit of a challenge. Spelt is another great hard wheat. And then this one is the one I actually want to talk about today. This is the one I'm going to grind some of. This is barley. This is actually not officially wheat. It's a grain. I really love barley because of a lot of reasons. It grinds really nicely. Its flavor is almost non-existent in the sense that it kind of takes on the flavor profile of what you're making with it. So it enriches the flavor of what you're making, but it doesn't overpower it with any weedy flavor of any kind or nutty flavor. And it mills so fine. Did I already say that? And it's a nutrient powerhouse. It's just a really good choice for making cookies, muffins, waffles, all the good baked goods. Barley is something I will grab often. Another quick tip I wasn't planning on sharing, but I'm going to squeeze it in. I love mixing my wheat berries. Once you get comfortable with the different profiles of the different berries and you've referenced your charts often and you get, you really know what the charts have on there. it's easy to just grab different ones and toss them in when you're making flour. And I love that because first of all, everything I make tastes slightly different. It's always a little fun experiment, like, oh, what's this gonna taste like? But more than that, what I really love is the nutrient profile. I'm switching up, adding in, getting a lot of variety of nutrients by just grabbing a couple different jars of wheat berries. So that's the tip I threw in as a bonus. Okay, let's go over to my grain mill. Before I do, I will send you my ultimate guide to choosing a grain mill. I spent a lot of time, if you come at workshop when this is over or when it's on replay, I spent a lot of time. Hello guys. Hello. Oh, I see you, Amanda and Heifer Hobbies and Gina commenting workshop. If you could come back as soon as this is published and comment again. Unfortunately, I won't see it after I've published this, and I want to make sure to get you the information. What was I saying? Oh, I spent a lot of time putting together this guide to choosing a grain mill because it was a really hard struggle for me deciding which one was the right one. I actually own 4 grain mills. It's a long story, but I've used them all and I've been able to break down the differences in a way that will help you decide what's right for you. I can't tell you, this is the one I have, so it's the one you should have, because we all have different desires, needs, and, you know, reasons that we want to mill our flour. So that will change which mill is the best one for you. So let's go over here. I have another tip for you too. If I can move this without knocking over my jars. Let's take my barley, set you up over here. Sorry if I just made you go lightheaded or dizzy. Okay, here's my grain mill. It stays on my counter at all times. I have what is called an on-demand mill. It's a stone mill, and I want to be able to make my flour the amount that I want, when I want it, right then. For a lot of people, that's not what you want. You want to be able to have it on hand so you can just pull it out and use it, you know, like you're used to. So that's one factor to know before you choose your mill. But I have it set correctly. I do need to turn it on before I add my wheat berries, or they could get gummed up in the stones. It is loud, so I apologize now for that. And before I start it, I want to explain, this is my tip. It took me the longest time. You know what? I'll explain to you in a minute when you can see my face. But here's my tip. Use a measuring cup. This is a 4-cup measuring cup to measure your wheat berries as they're coming out so you can get exactly the amount of flour that you want. I might not go a whole cup because I don't want your ears to hurt, but here we go. There we go. I'm going to stop it there, but I have about half a cup right there. But that gives you the idea that you can just keep adding a little bit at a time until your flour level gets to where you want it. Let's go back over here and I'll explain why this matters. Okay. So, another thing I struggled with once I figured out, potentially, it took me a while, what wheat berries I wanted to use. Another thing I struggled with was measuring it, taking my recipes and knowing how much of the wheat berry I needed for that amount of flour. So for one thing, a simple tip I can give you is that when you turn your berries into flour, it aerates it, which means it increases the volume. So if you're making a cup of flour, you might use 2/3 a cup of wheat berries. You're always going to use the less wheat berries than the amount of flour that you need. But it varies greatly depending on the wheat berry, depending on your mill, depending on the setting you have your mill on. So I was making all these lists of, okay, if I have this many wheat berries, it makes this much flour. And I would put the variety of the wheat berry and the setting on my mill. And I realized nothing was consistent and I wasn't able to figure out, because I wanted to be able to just measure out the right amount of wheat berries and put it in my mill for the amount of flour I needed. Well, couldn't get it to work. And then this idea, actually, I can't even take credit. It was Kayla's idea. I was like, oh my word, that's brilliant. It was kind of life-changing. So I can just pour in the berries until it gets to the level of flour that I need. I like the on-demand mill because I like to use it instantly because it is the highest nutrient quality right when it's been milled. The longer that it sits, the nutrients start to degrade just a little bit. So that's just my preference, but it's still amazing. Even if you mill it and use it 3 weeks later, you keep it in your fridge and use it 3 weeks later, it is still amazingly good for you, so much better than commercial flour. So that's that. I think that's the main things of what I wanted to tell you. Please go check out the Homestead Bundle. It's a fun way for my friends and I to pull our resources and make these things available to you at a huge cost savings. And if you use my link, I do get a slight benefit from it, but it's really our gift to you guys. And we have to make it limited time because, I mean, we have to. But to thank you for using my link to get the bundle, I have an extra special gift for you in celebration of Fresh Flower University. And the fact that it is a brand new masterclass and the doors have just opened, I've put together a resource for you that's just some tips and insights into the workings of fresh flour that you won't find anywhere else. It's going to have charts. In fact, I have a list here of what's in it. It's called the Fresh Flour Formula. Hey, I said that without messing up. I didn't have to trip over my tongue. There's 4 parts to the fresh flour formula. Knowing your wheat berries, which is a lot of what we talked about today, but there's some more information as well. Knowing your recipes. There's some insider tips there that will help you convert your favorite recipes to really delicious fresh flour alternative recipes. 3, it helps you to know your blends. You're going to gain insights into making fresh flour blends that act like the commercial blends your family is used to. And 4th of the fresh flour formula is knowing your limits. I'm going to help you with knowing the easiest fresh flour to use and the easiest recipes to get started with so you can be comfortable and really learn the ins and outs of fresh flour. So I have all that waiting for you. As soon as you buy your bundle, just reach out and I will make sure you get the fresh flour formula. It has charts, it has details, it has tips, and it will give you a taste of Fresh Flour University. So there you go. There's also some gifts with it. I'm so excited. There's a couple gifts, some exclusive discounts to a grain mill and to my favorite lids for storing wheat berries and other things. So, okay. I'm glad you joined me. Please come at workshop so I can send you the replay, some links to what we talked about, the podcast episodes. What else do we talk about? Oh, my guide to the grain mills. And tomorrow we'll be talking about my medicinal garden as part 4 of this workshop series and what I'm growing and what that looks like. Some of them might surprise you. And even if you're not going to grow these ingredients that I'm growing this year, I'm going to tell you how you can access them and purchase these ingredients to use in your drinks and how they up-level your drinks in really cool nutritional ways. So that's tomorrow. I hope you join me. Make sure you come at workshop. This was fun, guys.